Hey YouTube, this is part 2 of Nibiru, Planet X in Bible prophecy. In the first one, I just went over why I didn't believe it at all. I don't believe in aliens. Aliens are angels. The Nephilim were half angel, half human. Do they live on another planet? It's possible. I don't know if they. Are there some on other planets? If there are, I said that those that were held in chains of darkness for sleeping with women in Genesis 6 might be there. Stored in judgment, chains of darkness for until judgment. Well, they may have been on that 3,600-year elliptical orbit, and the last time it came might have been the flood of Noah, and the time before that might have been the flood when Satan rebelled. You can read about that. Jeremiah chapter 3, or maybe 4, I think it's 3, Samuel 22, Psalms 104 maybe, and 2 Peter. You can read about all that, and the angels that sin and where they are, that kind of thing. Jude even mentions it. It's even in the secular book Josephus, the history of the Jews that was written 2,000 years ago. It's non-biblical, but it talks about Jesus. It talks about these angels and Hebrew history, that kind of stuff. So the Hebrews at least know they're angels. It's taught today in some of these stupid seminaries. They're trying to hide it from us. This has all been one conspiracy theory after another since Catholicism started. Hiding information, secret societies, governments keeping secrets, propaganda. It's all about control, and that's what Satan's in charge of, and that's where our politicians are Luciferians. That's why people will do these rituals. That's why we have a statue of Columbia, District of Columbia, as Liberty. She's the ancient goddess. That's Inanna. That's Diana. That's look it up. Why does she have 7 spikes on her crown? Look this stuff up. It's Columbia. Why the Twin Towers were built that way? Why? What's the broken column in Masonic lore about? Why we have these goddesses on Greek gods buildings? Why we build something? All these on the ark. Because no one person can get Ham has a son, and I won't tell you the reason that I think why Canaan got cursed. It has to do with act of sexuality. Because, Ham saw his mother. Unclearly, he was bothered with the nation of the sleep with his wife, either Ham's mother or another wife Noah had after his death. Anyways, as a child, and Ham was told he'd be a slave in the tents of Shem. So when you're talking about the Palestinians biting the dust today and Israel bombing Gaza and all this stuff, that's the reason why. God said, I'm going to do. They've been picking and fighting Israel for 3,000 years. The land was given to Abraham. They're still fighting. So it says that they're going to be reduced to nothing. The Jews are going to get them back for all they did to the Jews and for mocking them when they went into Babylon and stuff. This is all part of God's plan, yeah. You say, oh, but it's innocent women and children. Well, Hamas and the Palestinians don't care if they shoot a rocket into Israel. If it was me, I would have to do that too. You need to scare them into stop bombing your citizens. And I have no beef with Israel. In fact, I'm for Israel, and I'm not for the Luciferian Zionist movement. Don't get me wrong. Those Jews that control the world through banking and the Rothschilds and the Rockefellers and those that actually funded Hitler to kill those lower than them that were Jews so it would drum up sympathy to give the Jews a state. Well, all that came part in prophecy. So what I'm trying to do is I don't know that Nibiru is a planet. I didn't believe any of it at first. I certainly don't believe it's a race of evolved beings that created us, like Zechariah Sitchin. But I do believe they had, some of them slept with women, Genesis 6. A lot of people believe that eating from the tree of good and knowledge of good and evil was Eve being seduced by Satan and then showing her husband the same because they knew they were naked. There's so many other evidences for that. That's not just they saw themselves naked. That's for another time. But one thing you got to worry about with Planet X is the Bible says, don't follow after carefully devised tales of men. Well, that's all it could be. In fact, it could be like false intelligence to fake an alien invasion that would bring the Antichrist in. You know, something like that would explain away a rapture, if there is a rapture. And you could explain all that away, and you'd have a one world leader that everybody adored because he has all the answers, okay? You need to know this, there's gap theory and all that too, but there were two floods in the Bible. You know, one with Noah we know about, and the one at Satan's rebellion. Read that in Samuel 22. God covered the earth with water and darkness. That's why in Genesis 2, it says God created the heavens and the earth. Then it says, and the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters and over the face of the abyss. And darkness was there. You know, this darkness isn't just the absence of light, because he hasn't said let there be light. It's a darkness that covered an existing light. Read it in Hebrew. But yeah, it's in several books in the Bible about that. It's very obscure, and it's almost like you don't need to know for our purposes, but it does help. The Vatican telescope, that's another reason for Nibiru. I believe that Nibiru is actually a planet, or it's going to, because they wouldn't spend all this money to fake it. I don't think. Well, they could, but they have the only other existing infrared telescope which can see dark planets that don't shine. They don't shine, and one that far out wouldn't even catch the sun to glow or to reflect. And think about it. Like, if there were these angels that came down, they stayed here, they taught men things in the book of Enoch. They were heroes in the book of Genesis. In the book of Jasher, which is mentioned in the Bible, so I believe it has some credibility, the book of Enoch too, it talks about these angels that fell, and God reserved them in chains of darkness. Well, could those chains of darkness be that he would put them on planet X? And when it comes back around, that's when the key to the abyss, which could be a lot of other things too, when that opens up and a locust army pours out. Well, what if that thing is the abyss? The abyss is space between here and there. What if it comes out of the abyss and they're able to get from here to there to here? It's incredible. I don't know. Spiritual, like what kind of bodies do they have? What is spiritual? There has to be some sort of reality to it. It's not just ghost-like. Who built the pyramids and all these things with technology? And pyramids, who would have known this, but there's something called torsion field physics, where you can build a pyramid out of anything and sit up under it, and it will actually repair your DNA. If you build just 1 out of 10 or something, stick a tomato in the middle, like where the king's chamber would be, and put a tomato beside it, this tomato will be ripe in 5 days. This one will be rotten, or ever how long it takes. But it's kind of a miracle, but it works. They didn't know that. Why spend and who could move those blocks? And according to archaeologists, it only took like 23 years. You'd have to put one of those blocks that weighs like thousands and thousands of tons that we'd have trouble picking up and placing today. You'd have to do that you'd have to put down a stone every 21 seconds or something like that. So that's another reason for Nibiru. Who knows if it's false information. They'd want us to think all these things and get all these things in our head, but the fact that the theory of evolution and the Big Bang Theory are actually disproven. They won't let go of them because that's what their textbooks say. Those that have dissertations, those people that are corporate funded, they're not going to come out and say, oh, my life's work was wrong. But it is. I mean, mathematically, Big Bang could not have happened. Half the physicists will mention it. If you can get one away from his corporation, he'll say, nah, ain't no way. Evolution's just completely wiped out. But they won't let it go, because they can't admit that God might have created this.
So they're looking out in space and say, oh yeah, these angels, these Anunnaki came down and took apes and then readjusted our DNA and made us. That's just as, to me, that's just as out there as thinking God could have done it. I mean, of course God did it. Let's see. It already hit Earth once, which could have been one of its moons, maybe, which could account for the moon. It could account for the asteroid belt. It's in the Numa Elish, the Sumerian text. I don't believe the Sumerian text all the way, but it is possible that if these are evil angels, they would have known about it, especially if they were living on other planets. They'd know about the solar system. And when they came down, they taught us things. Read Enoch. And they don't know. Scientists and physicists and that, they know about 5%, they say. Well, how do you know if you don't know what 100% is? And you can say, well, there are billions of years old. You don't know how old it is. And first of all, if you assume that it's millions of years old and you do strata and you say, oh, well, this must be half of the time, so it's 7 billion years old. Well, that's because you suppose that it was already 15 billion years old, that the Earth was. Is there an Agartha? All this stuff. Is there a hell under the surface of the Earth? What if hell is Nibiru? What if Nibiru has angels on it that are stuck there trying to get back to Earth, and when they get to Earth, that starts the locust army, the tribulation. That's where the Antichrist, who will come up from the bottom of the pit, which I think may be that. I don't put a lot of stock in this, but I couldn't say it was true, but it is interesting to look at. Polar shifts, that kind of thing. There's nothing that will fulfill the prophecies in the Bible. I know I'm leaving out some stuff, but darkness, mountains of fire hitting the earth, wormwood falling from the sky, the third of heavens, the heavens will shake. Darkness at noon, moon turning to blood. People having heart attacks because they fear so much of the things that are coming on the earth. A leader that emerges to put out all the chaos, a one world dictator, something to unite humanity. A catastrophe would unite them after that. They might even get united if you could scientifically explain away a rapture. I don't know that there is a rapture, but if there is, that would be one of the things. I'm going to be doing several new series, and one is Genesis 1 and 2 and the Gap Theory, and it'll be about Satan's rebellion. And it'll be a couple of series, and I'll have other people put in input and have other people's theories. And if you guys want to talk about it and tell me some stuff that you know that I may have left out, or if I left out something here, then let me know. I'm also going to have, it's called Creation Possibilities. I'll show you that evolution and the Big Bang are dead. And I'll have quotes from physicists and things like that. Assumption, symmetry. Genesis 6, the Sethite theory that is taught in seminaries around here. Preachers are preaching it wrong. They won't even bring up the topic of Genesis 6. But, we're going to do like a think tank on it and just keep going. And have some stuff in Revelation as well. And guys, keep looking up, man. Keep an eye on CERN, keep an eye on HARP, and keep an eye on the stars. The signs in the heavens, I think, point to the existence of an Nibiru. Maybe, maybe not. We'll find out, I guess.
All right.